Hi there. So, in today's video, we'll be talking about these 8 habits that are secretly draining your wealth. So, welcome again. And today, what we are going to talk about is why the wealth matters, why you should care about your wealth, and how you should build these avoid these 8 habits rather that are secretly draining your wealth. So, let's dive deep in. So, habit number 1, impulsive spending. Ever remember that you just went to the mall just to look around and then you saw something and you felt pressed to buy that? The thing was not something that was of immediate requirement, and neither was something that you could easily afford, but because of the enticing nature of the particular item, you felt the impulsive need to buy it there and then, and you ended up buying. So that kind of unplanned purchase and that kind of emotional buying is what I'm talking about here. So that's the retail therapy, essentially. Retail therapy, as in, we should it's there in this particular business. All the businesses around us are built for us to make these impulsive decisions. If you go to a big bazaar or a shopping mall or any D-Mart or anything of that sort, you would see that these kind of impulsive spending behaviors are categorized, right? Things are grouped in a way so that you make an impulsive spending decision in the grocery store, or even in the shopping mall, or in a shoe store, or whatever, right? For example, the candies are always placed at levels which are accessible to the kids, or all these fascinating candies, chocolates, etc. you'll find near the billing counters, because that is where you'll spend most of your time in the queue, and your kids more often will start cribbing or start asking for those, and you eventually impulsively spend on that, or rather your kids feel that impulsive need to spend over there. So those again, it's not about buying chocolates, it's about any impulsive spend, right? So the retail stores around us are built in a way that is going to make you buy things impulsively. The advertisements on your Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube here are all built for you to make those impulsive decisions. So what you can do to avoid these? What you can do is you can delay that buying decision by at least 72 hours. And by doing that, you give yourself a breather to really think over it, decide whether that is something that you really need, or was that just a momental thought in that particular time, and you later realize that there is not much of utility for that particular item in your home, and it will be just unnecessary impulsive spend. Coming to habit 2, overuse of credit. So today we have these high interest rates and these minimum payments option available with all the credit card debts around us. Overusing that credit is really going to harm you in the longer run. First of all, I am not a great fan of credit cards or credit in general. Home loan or a first vehicle are the only two things I would ever recommend anybody in this planet to ever take a credit for. Anything else in this world, you should buy it in cash or from your saving bank account. You should never be taking any credits for it, let alone whatever benefits you would have been told about. So many points, so many this, that, and blah blah blah. I really don't buy into that, because eventually these are policies, cards, etc., which are built around creating that habit of overusing. And once you get into that trap wherein every month you are paying your credit card bills using another credit card and whatnot, I have seen people doing all sorts of stuff around that, and month on month paying minimum payments, you're harming your credit score by doing that. Paying high interest rates on things, people buy just simple phones, iPads, this, that, and even much more smaller items these days. Even grocery, for example, some people may take it on a EMI because their card gives that option to them. But please do not do this kind of misuse and overuse of credit, is what I would recommend. Neglecting budgeting, the third basic habit over here. you don't have a spending plan either, or you're overspending on your risks and having a kind of financial chaos. So let me know in comment section if you want me to make a detailed video on how I budget my money, and how I can simply help you in doing that budgeting exercise. So not budgeting is yet another habit which is taking away a lot of money out of your accounts. Ignoring investments, habit number 4. Ignoring investments is the one biggest mistake one could ever do in their life, right? While I'm not saying that day one of your job and you're not even earning high enough to invest, start investing a huge sum into your investment portfolio. Invest time on growing your income, that is for sure important, but ignoring those investments to a later date, or just relying on your PF contributions or your NPS contributions for creating wealth for you, that is going to cost you a lot of missed growth. You'll have a lot of inflation impact on your money, and you will eventually harm your wealth building capabilities of it, right? So for instance, to give an example, if you start early, you will be able to gain a lot more advantage of that growth potential that is available to you. And the years you miss, the inflation is eating out on your corpus, eating out on your money, and you will never be able to catch up. So the early it is possible for you, the earliest you should start investing. What you should invest in, where you should invest in, maybe I'll create a separate video and link that in the comment section or the summary. 5th habit, paying unnecessary fees on either your bank charges, your late fees, subscription overheads, etc. So avoid all those kind of silly mistakes. Just some sort of bank overhead charges, late fees for payments on credit cards, or some sort of subscription overheads. Just avoid paying those unnecessary fees, because to you it may look like, okay, what's the big deal, it's just a couple of ₹100 I'm paying extra, but in the long run it eventually harms your overall wealth creation journey. Habit number 6, if I were to say the most important habit which is draining out your wealth, this is the one. Remember that 50-30-20 rule I talked about in my previous video, wherein 50% is supposed to be given out for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for your investments. A lot of times, even when your income grows from X to 4X, you still continue using the same rule, because that's a rule, right? Somebody told you that you have to spend 50% of your money that you earn in hand every month on your needs. Your needs have to increase, right? If your salary, for example, because of the exponential growth that you got in your job, or the hops that you did recently, and the skill sets that you developed, maybe landed you in a 4x job within amount of 4 years or 5 years itself. But did your needs grow by 4x necessarily in those 4-5 years? Most likely not. Most likely your needs are still 1.5x, but since you have started earning that 4x, you seem to figure out a social circle which is spending maybe not just 4x, even 6x, and you try to match them and try to inflate your lifestyle. Your spending raises, you keep up appearances. In terms of keeping up appearances, as in today's Indian society, people are judged for the cars that they have, status symbols of cars, houses and all that. Those are things that we get all caught up in, right? Because my neighbor bought a bigger house or a bigger car, I have to buy it just to keep in pace, just to show up, just to keep up with the appearances that I'm having. All that financial pressure, unnecessary financial pressure in the Indian society that you see around you, don't succumb to that, I would say. Think for yourself, what do you want your money to buy for you? Do you want your money to buy you these assets which decompose over time, these are what depreciating assets, as Robert Kiyosaki talks about, or you want to build a financial independence plan for yourself, which will let you buy time for yourself in coming years, right? Or you want to just be in the stress of paying up on your big debt that you took for that buying that 4 BHK apartment in some random society of Bangalore by one of those random builders who's inflate their prices every month by 10%. All that is artificial inflation, artificially created demand supply gap. Maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video, but the lifestyle inflation would be one of the biggest threats to your wealth. Please don't succumb to that. Habit number 7, procrastinating financial planning, procrastinating your investments, procrastinating your savings for a delayed date. I will start saving it. It's not yet time. What this leads to is shortfall in the amount of retirement corpus that you may need. You miss your goals. So have those kind of financial planning in place for goal-based investments, for retirement corpus-based investments, and do not delay on these savings. Last habit, obviously, again, the poor debt management, where again you are doing a poor interest management, taking high debt, personal loans, something we should never ever take in life. Those are personal credit card loans, personal loans that are charging upwards of anywhere between 15% to 16% of interest. For the credit card debt that you don't pay on time, you are being charged upwards of 36% per annum on that investment, right? Any other place in the world, unless you are some rocket scientist who's building some financial models using all the bits of data science available in the world, you won't be able to achieve that 36% at all. Unplanned borrowing, debt accumulation, all these things are going to really eat away into your corpus and going to give you a hard time. So I would highly recommend you not to ever feel get into the trap of this. How to break these habits? Awareness and tracking obviously is the key, where having the awareness of the finances that you are having, tracking each and every penny that you spend, each and every investment that you do, setting clear goals about what is your financial independence goal, what is your retirement goal, when do you want to retire, and how many years do you want to retire, where do you want to spend your vacation, how many kids do you want to have, which schools they'll go to, for how many years they'll go to school, what will be their higher education expenses. Setting those clear goals, their marriage, their blah blah blah, whatever those life goals could be, having those set goals clear in your roadmap, right? That will allow you to create corpuses around each of those, and seek professional help. There is nothing wrong in seeking professional help. There are registered investment advisors, RIAs available out there, which are SEBI registered, right? So you can seek professional help from likes of those in helping you plan your finances well. So again, summarizing it further, so how do you break from these habits, right? These 8 habits were the habits we talked about. The impulse spending, never ever do that impulse spending again. Spend 72 hours, delay your spending decision by 72 hours. After those 72 hours, if you still feel that your decision or that particular buying decision is a real need, go for it. If you can spend twice on that kind of an item, go for it. If you can afford it twice, go for it. Don't never overuse the credit that is available to you, because that is only going to call upon more and more interest and more fees and whatnot. Neglecting budgeting, always budget your money and create a proper plan around that. Never ignore investments, create proper investment goals. Never look your unnecessary fees that you are paying on your accounts, your cards and subscriptions, etc., as something that you can afford. Try to avoid all of those unnecessary fees. And lifestyle inflation, the most important thing to look for. Never fall in that trap that the Indian society wants you to fall in, and live a free life, buy time for yourself with the money that you have buy or you will earn. Don't buy things which will perish in a couple of years or more. Never procrastinate your financial planning should be your topmost priority, and if required, take financial help around that from a proper advisor. Manage your debt well. Manage your debt in a way that takes away all the pains around that. So yeah, those were the 8 habits that I wanted to touch upon today, and hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.